So it's obviously just raining like crazy, so I've got some stuff to do, mostly filling up the gearbox. So I'm going to try and get that done now. I've done some of this before, but I'm going to do this again now. I've just emptied out the gearbox off camera. Obviously I don't have much light in here, so I'm going to dump a litre or two into the gearbox, make sure that everything is good. So this is a Dex 3 ATF. I think it's a synthetic blend. I definitely want the benefits of not having rust in the gearbox, and since I had the boat, there's always been this crunchy sound, and of course, as you know, if you've watched a few episodes back, that crunchy sound is from water being in the gearbox, because the cooler was leaking all these years and I didn't know it. So I always thought it was working fine, and I was wrong. So let's see how much we've got. Here's the little dipstick that comes with it. We're looking to get as close to the full mark as possible. So let's see how it goes. Now that I've installed the cooler, I still have to install the water system, but at least I don't know how many litres this actually takes. Oh, so we're at the low end. We can definitely put some more in here. Let's do that. There we go. Alright, I've cleaned this. If you're wondering, there is a little bucket over here at the bottom in the bilge where I'm actually putting this, so I don't want any oil in the bilge, although unfortunately I do have some oil in the bilge. Alright. Halfway to full, but I think that's okay for now. We will tighten it up and add a bit more in at a later stage. For now, I want to make sure that the nut is tightened. There we go. I don't want any drips, but I'm going to leave the little thingy over there, the little old ice cream tub. And let me bring you guys in a little closer. Alright, so here's the dipstick, and that's where we've just filled it from, and in there is a tub. You can see the tub over there, and just under these wires is the plug that I pulled out. There it is, if you can see it. Everything should be good to go. These have all been tightened, as has this one. These are all good to go. I just need to do this connection now. I have found pipes that I need, but it requires a fitting that goes from this side to the T. The pipe fits on this side, and I have the pipe that I need that goes all the way around to the impeller, which it looks like I'm going to probably need to replace, because it's not sucking as well as it should do. I definitely don't want another week of this. So you've probably watched a very short episode just a little while ago, or last week's video. This is the next day, and I had sun for like that afternoon, and this is this is what it's turned into. I'm okay with that. It's the time of year. I knew I wasn't going to make it. Not going to let it get me down. I'm going to just carry on doing some work inside. Unfortunately, 90% of the work that I've got to do involves two-part epoxy paints, epoxy itself, glass work, sanding in a dry environment so that I can epoxy in glass. Most people who do this kind of work will tell you this isn't the weather to do it in. I'll continue with some engine work. Maybe I can start the engine later and check out that impeller, but it's very difficult to get to, and I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. And I did not take all my tools home to clean, like I said last week, so maybe I'll do that. In a completely unrelated turn of events, sadly one of my friend's boats started sinking overnight and went right to the bottom. It's terribly sad. Guys, please check your seacocks, check your leaks and check your pumps every day, all day. So now I'm going to start drilling. I'm going to get the cleat section sorted out, and I'm going to do the stanchion bits. So let's quickly power through all of this. It's a perfect time to take a small break, and that's just what we did. We went up to Chapman's Peak Pass, and we spent some time just doing this small time lapse, looking out over the bay and enjoying a little bit of the weather, and then straight back to boat work. It's the next day, actually the next day, because yesterday was Mother's Day and we went and did something with the family, which is great. So today is another beautiful day, so I'm drilling on deck and carrying on the port side for all of the stanchion mounts, drilling the holes, measuring everything up like you've just seen that I did on the starboard side. And then hopefully later today, probably tomorrow, we'll start welding them and I can sort of temporarily fit them. There's still a lot of work that needs to happen on the deck. I still need to sand some more. I may need to do a bit of fairing. I've called them. They still don't have any fairing in stock. They say Friday they'll get fairing, so end of this week. In the meantime, let me show you what I have done. So this is the port side of the deck. Here's stanchion number 1. Stanchion number 2 is going to go through this area that I repaired. And stanchion number 3. And then 4 and 5. 4 was quite a thing to drill, but I was lucky. And then 5. So any day now. So that very last one, or second last one, where the cleat goes through, just narrowly missed this bolt. So the stanchion is on the outer beam, so this is the inner beam, then it's the hull, and then there's another beam which is the toe rail. And the previous owners at some point built these, I guess, to support the deck and to support this beam and to just give it extra rigidity. They are every couple of meters. There's another one right in the corner. So this bolt does go right through the toe rail and then gets hidden. There's a bung or something that's, you know, I don't know where it is, but I kind of guessed, so I've narrowly missed it by drilling straight down. I guess I'm probably just here, I guess. And I think as we move further down the boat, that'll become more of a story. But if I can get the front done, great, because in the next no later than 2 weeks I am going to turn the boat around. So by turning the boat around and coming in on her stern, the port side aft section will be on this side, so I can stand on the mooring and finish that little bit of toe rail work and the glassing. It's very difficult hanging over that edge and doing that, and I think I've already recovered some tools from under the water, and I have so few tools that I don't want to risk any more of it. And it's difficult to hang over the edge and chip away that last little bit, especially between the chain plates. Whereas if I can stand quietly on the side of the boat and on the mooring, I can actually be very detailed and I can go in there and do a really good job of it. Again, especially by the chain plates, because I don't want any kind of issues. The chain plates do not go through the toe rail beam though. They go through the beam on the inside, that inner block, and they go right through, and they're sandwiched with a sort of an angle, and there's 2 bolts, and then the main plate gets bolted onto those 2 pieces, usually between a bulkhead. There's one here, there's one there. Let me show you. That is a chain plate. So the actual chain plate is on that bolt. It goes right through there, and then this goes through the bulkhead, and you can kind of see it on this side, another one, and then probably too dark, but the other piece is in there somewhere. So I want to maintain the structural integrity of all of that. I think later on I'm going to build much bigger frames, and I'm going to put them all in as we go. They're quite strong, and you know, the only one I was kind of worried about is that one, and I was worried about that one because of the fire, and I don't know if that's caused much damage, but as we've been sanding that bulkhead, I've discovered that actually it's quite sturdy still, and that weird vinyl 70s veneer that was put on there bubbled, but actually ended up protecting the wood. So yeah, there's no risk of any masts coming down on us, which is a great thing when you want to sail the boat around the world. Alright, all I want to do now is very quickly run the engine and as quickly engage the gearbox and let it turn a bit and then turn it off. That's all I want to do. So let me quickly do that. End result of test, not as much noise from gearbox as before, thank goodness. I don't see any oil leaking. The noise did start going up, but I assumed I'll have to top up the oil because now that cooler is going to be getting full. I don't see any leaks out the cooler yet, and I don't see any leaks out the gearbox yet. So, oh man, holding thumbs, everything seems to work well. It's now later in the day and we've welded up a few of the stanchion bits, and I've taken them all and inserting them so that I can see what small finesse work I'm going to need to do. Most of them fit pretty much 100%, but I will need to do some sanding on deck, and I do still need to angle all the areas. Overall though, it doesn't look too bad. Every little piece fits. I'm very, very glad for that. So there we have the first 6 done. I've actually got 10 done. I just have to get some more threaded rod because this rod I've run out of. And then if you saw in the previous video, number 3, or rather number 2, yeah, on the port side, 2P. This one is sitting a little bit skew on the deck. Focus. And the reason it's doing that is because this weld isn't as good. So you can see at the bottom there, it's sitting with a bit of a raised edge. All of them will on the deck. I will come through with a slightly rounded bit, and I'll make a small indentation to accept all of these neatly on the deck before I fill it with Sika, etc. when I actually bed these things properly. But they still need to be cleaned, and I've got tons more to do, but we're definitely getting there, so yay. Today was mostly this. And there is still time to sneak in some last minute priming work. Again, this is Interguard. This is what I use to prime pretty much everything. It works really well. It's an Asker Nobel international product, and I use this to prime the raw fairing bits on the deck and everywhere I go, really. And so now I'm mixing up a batch so that I can go and prime out the areas where we've just drilled out the holes, and by where the cleat is going to be, again in preparation for a top coat, so that once I've put the cleat on, I don't have to faff about later once I've turned the boat around. The cleat on the starboard side that I did ages ago actually needs to come off, and I need to finish prepping that area. I never actually completed that, and it's been super bugging me because I never primed it, I didn't finish sand it, and I haven't got the top coat on. So it's like we just needed to have a cleat on as soon as possible. Anyway, this will take just a few minutes of stirring, and then off we go outside and set it all up. So that last little bit of priming is about all I have time for this week. I still have to render this video today, finish editing it and upload it, and it's already like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So I try to release every Thursday at 6 South African Standard Time. But I'm tired now, so it's time to clean up, and yeah, I'm not going to get much more done. 4 more cleats, rather 4 more stanchions left, and 1 cleat on that side to mount. The priming is great. I'll prime again tomorrow, and then I'll do some top coats. I'll record all of that. I think that'll be next week's video. And then hopefully sometime in the next week or so I'll be able to swing the boat around, come in the other way around, and then I can work on the tow rail properly without having to worry about falling into water. But that is going to have to be it for this week. Thank you so much for engaging. Thank you everybody for commenting and liking, and I will see you all next week. Bye bye.